We continue on with built-in functions that exist in R, and this particular section is about the properties of objects. And we've looked at three different types of objects, and this is actually a pretty good review. I'm going to make three of those objects. The first is going to be a vector, and that's going to be the vector 1 through 8, and you can look in the upper right to see how 1 through 8 is displayed in RStudio. Second thing I'm going to make is a matrix, and I'll call this matrix Y. And what this matrix will do is it will hold the integers 1 through 8, but we'll make it 2 rows and 4 columns. And so you can see here Y has 2 subscripts now. The rows go from 1 to 2, and the columns go from 1 through 4, and they're the elements of the matrix Y. Finally, the third one will be an array, and we'll name that Z. Z is an array. And again, we will put in 1 through 8. This time, however, we are going to say there are 2 rows, 2 columns, and 2 layers. And you can look over here and you'll see how that is displayed. So in this case, the first subscript goes from 1 to 2, second subscript from 1 to 2, third subscript from 1 to 2. So now I have my 3 objects. How can we find out properties of those objects? Well, the first function is called the class function. So if I ask for class of X, class of Y, and class of Z, what you will get is integer, matrix, and array. Now you might have guessed that would come out and tell you vector, matrix, and array, but it gives you integer, matrix, and array. That tells you a little bit about the data structures. Now let's try mode. Here's the mode function. Mode of X is numeric, mode of Y is numeric, and mode of Z is numeric. So the mode function is telling you what the elements are. We happen to have numbers in there, but down the line we're going to be able to put in character strings in there. We're going to be able to put in logical elements. You could even put in complex numbers. There's a lot of things we'll be able to do going forward. There is another nice function known as length. And if you want to know the length of X, it will tell you there are 8 elements in X. Same goes for Y. It's also got a length of 8. And the length of Z is again 8. So keep in mind, this will tell you the length of the object regardless of its shape. It'll tell you how many things are there. Now specifically for the matrix, there are nice functions here. The nRow function will tell you the number of rows in Y, and there is an ncol function which will tell you the number of columns in Y. And I'm going to go ahead and just type Y here, and you will see there is my 2 by 4 matrix. How many rows? 2. And how many columns? 4. For the array, there is a dim function which will give you the dimensions of the array. So if I say dim of Z, it will tell you that it's a 2 by 2 by 2 array. I could also have typed dim of Y, and it will tell you that that is a 2 by 4 element array. And let's even try dim of X, see what we get. It will not give you any dimensions for a vector, so it'll return null in that case. Now the dim is a very versatile function, because it can not only get dimensions, it can set dimensions. I'm going to illustrate that by setting a vector b to the integers from 24 down to 1. So if I were to type b, there they are, the integers from 24 down to 1. Now if I want to take those integers and I want to reshape b, and I want to make it into, say, an array that is 4 by 3 by 2, I could do so. And this will have 4 rows, 3 columns, and 2 layers, and it just got reshaped. So b, which a minute ago looked like a vector, now if I type b, you will see instead of it being a vector like it was up here, it is a pair, those are the layers, of 4-row, 3-column matrices, and it puts the numbers 24 down to 1 in a column-wise fashion. The last function, which is of some use, is the structure function, which is abbreviated STR. And this gives you pretty much what you're getting over here, but it gets you that information on the console. And this tells you that X is a vector and it contains the values 1 through 8. Now if you say, what is the structure of Y? You can see there are now 2 subscripts, so you know it is a matrix, and the elements are there are 1 through 8. Finally, if you ask for the structure of Z, you will get 3 different subscripts, and again, 1 through 8 are contained in that particular array. So the next section we're going to do will have to do with what is called a functional, which is a function that actually contains an argument which is a function itself.